Hi, Francois. Welcome to BizTalk. It's my great pleasure having you. How are you?
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for your invitation.
Thank you. Thank you to come. Now, let's not talk about yourself, of course, because startup is about founders and CircaGene.
Yeah, so maybe I should start explaining who I am and why I'm doing that. And the who I am is like I will be really quick because otherwise it's boring. But basically, I'm a innovator in the health universe, I would say. So initially, I was a researcher, graduated in two different disciplines at Pasteur Institute in Paris, both in molecular genetics. It was my day job, and at night I was doing bioinformatics. So I got these two courses, two skills, and I went directly into startups and multinational. I developed many in vitro diagnostic tests during these 20 years, developing systems to protect the health of astronauts in orbit in the International Space Station, or the opposite, which is develop tests that cost less than $1 in the Amazonian jungle. So I did all this, but it's not really what defines me. What really defines me is what I did not do. So basically, my spiritual father developed a lung cancer a few years ago, and I was thinking I should have seen that. And then he entered into this very aggressive treatment, and we were applying different treatments, and it was not working. And I was thinking I should have seen that. And after 3 treatments, it was time up. So he died because we could not find in advance, identify this risk and find the right treatment and really guide him at the molecular level. And I was thinking, this sucks. We should have done that. Like, we should have been able to bring all the latest innovation. I was leading an innovation team by then in bioMérieux. And I was thinking, I'm going to do that. It's way too slow. It's way too slow. It's complicated to do that, fine. But if it's not happening, I will create a startup to do that. And that's how CircaGene was created in 2018.
So let's start talking more in detail about CircaGene.
Sure. Very quickly, CircaGene is what? It's a digital health platform for predictive genomics. So it's really simple. What we're doing is giving superpowers to healthcare professional and medical consumer, leveraging DNA and bioinformatics, in particular AI. So that's what we do. Why we do that? Well, we do that for the people. This is our first customer. So Dia, imagine a 7-year-old girl. So she was born with a genetic syndrome during 7 years. Impossible to diagnose this genetic syndrome, impossible. So the family decided to come to CircaGene, and we provided the final diagnosis. So no strong treatment. However, it allowed them to directly connect to the health community they belong to. They were not isolated anymore, and that was making their life so much easier. So this is 6% of the population. 6% of the human population worldwide got a genetic syndrome. Most of the time, it's not diagnosed. This is our beachhead market. And I was thinking initially when I was pitching, people were like, oh, no, I'm not going to give you my DNA because I freak out. I don't want to have my DNA and all information all over internet. So the main problem we had to solve initially was actually to protect the privacy of the people and to make sure that the data can flow. So to do that and to avoid privacy to be compromised, because it does happen, you can go to the dark web right now and buy genomic data. Do you know that? It costs only $300, $400, and you can have the whole genome of someone. It's really bad. So we developed, we patented a disruptive encryption technology to protect the privacy of the people. So now we can not only have a digital health platform, but also provide you invisibly, I would say, the protection of your genetic data. But it's not enough, because obviously once you protect the data, you need to analyze the data. And this is really complex. This is really deep analysis. So what we did is that I brought my knowledge in terms of in vitro diagnostic, in terms of genetics, to answer, to bridge the gap really between the genetics lab and the people. So you can directly have a look on your DNA. So let's say, Max, you want to know, oh, am I supposed to have a severe COVID infection due to my DNA? Well, you can directly connect to your workspace and have an answer. So what we do is we crunch billions of data points because we do clinical grade whole genome sequencing and we integrate a lot of data. We crunch all this data, we give you access to yourself, so you can reconnect with your DNA and you can talk with your DNA. You can see that as a kind of DNA Google of you, in a sense. So our value proposition is we just want to give you superpowers. So you see in advance all the disease you're predisposed to. The best disease are the one you avoid, obviously. If you develop a disease, we want to be next to you, so we can guide the treatment and we can give superpowers to your clinical team, to your medical team as well. How does it work? Well, we do have a platform where we implemented our privacy by design protocol. This is the core of our digital health platform. It's accessible everywhere, so it's web-based. And on top of that, we come and we plug different modules that you can see as reports or dedicated to some particular question. So I'm sure, Max, you wonder, what is my ideal way to sleep or to eat, or which sport I'm supposed to do, and I'm genetically predisposed to be good to this particular sport? Well, we can give you this question. Obviously, we are disease-oriented, but you can also leverage the power of a platform to optimize your life. So this platform is accessible everywhere, so anywhere, anytime. And what we see is that the people, they do access the platform when they are visiting their GP. So imagine, and that's a real case. So this is a true customer. He got some cardiovascular problem. He was visiting the GP and the GP was, oh, I'm going to prescribe cerevastatin. And he was connecting to his workspace and CircaGene was saying, red, cerevastatin, very, very likely that you will have strong side effect to that one. So he was telling directly to his GP, well, listen, can you give me another molecule here? And then the GP was like, yeah, sure, I can provide something else. So they avoided the problem from the very beginning because we provided this, this trajectory. So you can see us as a kind of DNA Sherpa, if you want. So we optimize your trajectory, so you're not going in the wrong direction. So many people use it. What is even more interesting is that we started to be to be kind of well known in the medical world. So not only the medical consumer come, but also directly clinics or GP or rheumatologist, which is great. It's a big market. I won't enter into details, but it's basically more than $30 billion by 2030s, roughly. Keep in mind that the world economy is shifting towards economy. So in 2035, 60% of global economy will be health related, which is kind of amazing if we think about that. We develop a lot of different very innovative things, including a very disruptive product. So it's an artificial intelligence that analyzes not only your DNA, but the DNA of the bacteria you have in the saliva, in your mouth, and we can predict with more than 90% accuracy some disease, including chronic condition. And for that one in particular, we've been selected among the top, the global top 100 most innovative company in health applying artificial intelligence. It was a ranking provided by UNESCO IRCAI committee, so the Artificial Intelligence Committee. So we do pack a lot of innovation in our platform. It allows us to provide some very unique functionalities from traceability, interoperability. We are user friendly. So we believe we have a one-stop shop for your molecular wellness. So we do pack a lot of unfair advantage within the company. We do have valid, well, accepted, granted patents of obviously in vitro diagnostic expertise, bioinformatics expertise. So we both have mathematician, but also clinician. So it's a particular, I would say, very dense from a technical point of view, very dense startup we have. So we started as an integrated service with this one-stop shop, and now we develop a new way to provide this service to business, invisible way through an API, and this is coming for Q2. We've been profitable since day one, and we accelerated our profit. So we should be reaching more than 1 million £1 million in revenue per year by the end of the year. So this acceleration is really good news for us. Obviously, we are extremely ambitious. So we are going to raise money. In particular, we are shooting for raising £2 million in Q2 22. And we are also going to raise money for one particular vertical, which is the oral microbiome. I do that not alone. I have amazing people around me, especially some technical experts, part of their respective ISO committee in encryption and blockchain, and also some clinician. Joanna, for instance, is one of the big names in antimicrobial resistance and genetics. Brian, in particular, invented the 2D sequencing technology at Oxford Nanopore. So if we take all the people, it's more than 102 patents through their career. So it gives you an idea about how innovative we are. And I will finish with the people that support us. As I said, we've been ranked among the top 100 most innovative startup in the world, thanks to our AI applied to oral microbiome. We are backed by Loyal VC, Startup Funding Club, many different people. We've been selected among the top 2% most innovative company, part of the Founder Institute select portfolio. Obviously, we are supported by the UK Patent Office with several grants already. And these past few months, we were delighted to be supported by IBM. So they support 55 companies per year. We do have access to not only their expertise, but also their cloud. We've been also onboarding, I think it was 1 week ago, probably the most prestigious and selective accelerator in precision medicine in UK. It's called P4. I'm super grateful to be part of that accelerator as well. It will be a major boost for the company. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Francois. Let me start from the end. Regarding the business model, how does it work?
That's a very good question. So initially, we wanted to demonstrate that what we are doing is useful for the people. So we started the first year B2C, selling one kit at a time to the customer and really taking their feedback into consideration. And then we were delivering, DNA reports. And we were thinking, that's good. With more people, we developed the platform. So we packed innovation in the platform, and we were thinking, well, now we can sell more kits in bundle, B2B2C. So we started to have, agreement with clinics that in turn would sell the kits. So that's great, but the end game is what? The end game is B2B. We want to directly have commercial agreement, distribution agreements with people in many verticals. So you can imagine a sleep clinic, for instance, in Qatar, or you can imagine a nutritionist in Kansas. So that's what we want to do. We want to provide healthcare professional. We won't deny the access to the medical consumer. If you want to buy a kit right now, you can go to CircaGene.com. You use the discount code CGN10, and you have your discount, and you receive ads of your kit. But the end game is really B2B, to be able to directly work with different countries and the hospital and clinic locally.
But if I'm going myself to your website, I'm going to buy my kit. I use my saliva, send you the kit back, and you give me my DNA map, all right? But I don't know what to do exactly with my DNA, but will be nice. I think I will do it. I'm a big fan of DNA. And I pay my price, right? Now, I do believe one thing is selling to B2C, one thing is selling to B2B. The business model is completely different. The approach is completely different. How exactly do you think is going to work in terms of selling to C? Okay, you buy the ticket, but selling to B, you're selling the service. which is different.
It is. So what we want to do is really be B2B oriented. We sell a service which is actually which is a precision medicine as a service through a digital health platform. That's what we really want to do, right? In the future, what will happen? As we pack more and more technology, and this AI applied to oral microbiome is a good example, we'll have more and more data. And currently, I can announce that we are doing clinical studies in London. As we speak, some people are using CircaGene kit right now in one of the clinics in London. So we accumulate data. Why are we doing that? Because the end game is to provide our innovation as a software as a medical device. Software as a medical device is the way to go for us because it provides us not only flexibility, but scalability. Suddenly we can license, we can go in many, many different countries, and we know the process. We can be a class 2 medical device, we can be FDA approved, and suddenly we know the regulatory pathway, so we know how to do that. So the end game, even if it takes a little bit of time, is to accumulate data so we can really leverage our position.
I mean, in terms of DNA, as I say, I'm very huge fan of DNA. And where do you think the mapping DNA can go? It is very related to your business model because more options you have to sell your services, the better. But for example, you were talking before about performance, right? Sport performance or planning my life. I don't want to say I'm going to read my DNA. I'm going to decide what I'm going to do because reading my DNA, that's a little bit too much. But understanding, for example, what I should not do because maybe it's too dangerous for my life. Can one day do something similar? And my second question is, can one day knowing the DNA having a much more predictive medicine than today, where we must cure, we don't predict almost anything. We are still, there is the problem. We need to make sure that we are going to cure this disease.
There are many things in what you say, so at least 3. So let's go to the first one. When we do have a customer, we provide a consultation for every single customer. So it means you buy a kit, you have in the kit, you have 1 hour of consultation with your genetic counselor. So basically what we do is that we prepare the consultation with you. And what we say is that first, we need to make sure you're not in danger right now. We want to mitigate risk. And it did happen. One of our customers, so he got hematochromatosis. So it's a rare genetic disease in which basically you get contaminated with iron in the blood. So if you take vitamin C, for instance, you get worse. So he was taking more and more. And more.
And he was like, for the last 20, 30 years.
So he was getting really bad and he didn't know that. So we told him, this is what you have, immediate measure. This is what we recommend. Seek for medical advice. We ask you to do these tests and so on. So he was like looking for confirmation that he did obtain. But we always want the people to have, external, medical consultation as well. And we provide all this data to the GP and the genetic counselor should they want to have another opinion. And I do believe we saved the life of this guy. He was probably going to die within 5 to 7 years at that reason. And then, as you say, it's like we mitigate risk and then we identify the disease you're predisposed to in the 5 to 15 years to come. And then you can go, next step is to optimize your life. And we talked about the sleep and the nutrition. There are so many things to do here. I was showing the pharmacogenetics panel where you know exactly which medication you should avoid and so on. But indeed, we can go back to your sports ability. So we do have, for instance, a famous footballer, which is like one of our customer. And we were really interested to check whether there is no risk. So for the footballer, it would mean what? Sudden cardiac arrest on the pitch. It did happen. You saw that on TV. So we test for that. And we could say, well done, you don't have that one. You don't need to have mitigation action here. However, you do have these problem potentially with the joints that are weaker. So your muscle are amazing, but the joints are not that amazing. So it means you need to adjust your training. And we were providing all this information, and some big, football club out there are discussing with us because we can provide that. So I don't know if I answer your first question, but we always go from the risk mitigation. Let's avoid to die today, right? And then let's avoid to die soon. And then let's optimize your life. We believe that if we avoid these problems and if we can identify the bottleneck in your life, you should statistically live 10 to 15 years more in better health. So you should be healthier and happier, basically.
Absolutely. Let me come to this. It is pretty much your market where your technology can be adopted. What about drug makers?
Drug markets and pharmas, you mean, in general?
In general, yeah, pharma.
It's a very important market. So far, we did not work that much with pharmas. Why? Because it's a particular market. So what we believe is that we can provide characterization of the people in a cohort. So let's say you develop a particular molecule and you have different people. They need to know exactly if this molecule is working or not, and if it's working well on people that have this particular DNA makeup and not that one, they need to know why, and they need to identify. So we believe we could be a supplier to the pharma for the characterization of the cohort during clinical trials, for instance. For the time being, we are not developing any innovative tool for pharmas. It could come. I do believe that at one point we will reach the critical mass to do that in terms of capacities and patients, but still tiptoeing a little bit around pharmas. So if one of your auditor today, if one person looking at this program is part of the pharma and want to reach out, please do, because we are really open to that.
And always regarding to pharma, we've been through 2 very bad years with COVID, and vaccine DNA related has been very, very on top of any news, right? So can you work also with creating vaccines that can work based on different DNA? Can you give help also to this huge market? It's absolutely massive.
So in the past few years, interestingly, so we did our share during the COVID crisis. We even developed COVID tests. It was not part of our core business, obviously, but that was war against COVID, right? Yes, you're right. mRNA vaccines are a revolution because suddenly you can work from anywhere. Like you can design the mRNA, which is it's sequence, so it's text, and then it can be synthesized anywhere. And you can imagine you have these decentralized vaccine production in Africa, Australia, Europe, and so on. So it's really a revolution, not only qualitatively, quantitatively, but even the philosophy behind it is incredible. It means in the future, it will be possible to have micro units to produce mRNA vaccine where it's really needed. And I can say here that yes, the next pandemic is already brewing. There are 7 different factors that influence the emergence of pandemic, and unfortunately, these 7 factors are on the rise. So it will happen, but mRNA vaccine will be a weapon of choice in the future. If we go back to the DNA, and if we go back to you, let's say you're my customer, Max, you access your workspace and I tell you, and there is already in the workspace, people say, no, not possible. Yeah, we did it, it's accessible. There is a Google of you. So you can access different reports about nutrition, sleep, and so on. And you can also access, it's like literally like Google. So you can type whatever you want. Let's say, Max, unfortunately, your uncle developed a lung cancer, you enter lung cancer, click, and it will look for any mutation, any information in your DNA, because it's a DNA Google of you. And you have a table of all good and bad things. And it's really easy. If it's red, it's bad. If it's green, it's good. And you can have access to all that. Why I'm talking about that? Because currently it's a revolution of reading and understanding the DNA, including with AI. But tomorrow, what will happen is potentially correcting it. You probably hear about CRISPR, Cas9, and different things like Nobel Prize, fantastic technology. So humanity started to correct mistakes in the DNA. The first step is to know what is wrong so we can correct it. So we provide the map. Maybe tomorrow, people will be able to help you to correct some of this mistake.
What about the market? You're already generating almost 1 million. That's the forecast 2022. Where are your customers today, your clients?
That's a very good question. So the market is really fragmented from a regulatory point of view, and even the culture and so on. You're really open to DNA testing, but some people are, in some countries, people want to have access to the mitigation plan. They don't want to see the result, right? If something is bad, I don't want to see anything red. I don't want to know, but I want you to do your job and to give me the recommendation. So in terms of market, it's really particular. So we adjust our go-to-market strategy and the way we present results to the different countries. Currently, we do have strong traction in UK and strangely in Mexico, where we are developing a subsidiary here. We do have at least 2 other branches we want to build this year. The market, it's like you have one question typically per vertical and per country. So it's a very dynamic word, I would say, because regulatory change all the time, the context change all the time, and even the pandemic got a massive impact on the psychology of our customer.
You are a platform. Are you under any regulatory approval?
Not yet, but we are getting there very soon. So we want to have not only a very strong content in terms of innovation, but we want also this innovation to hit the market as medical device. So we are entering into this particular path. For the time being, most of our tools are research use only. That's why we partner with a medical institution, with clinics, with hospitals. So we give them superpowers. We tell them, this is what we suspect. You can check by doing this and that. And they provide the final signature. So we are safe. But in the future, we do want to be a medical device indeed, and to provide our service, software as a medical device.
Do you want to move to medtech?
Yes, for different reasons. First, because it's natural for us, and it's really, I think, the golden path to provide our innovation to more people.
Absolutely, I do agree. I mean, will be revolutionary for all these emerging markets. Will be absolutely something outstanding and helping so many lives. Let me talk a little bit. Just we don't have so much time left about your fundraising now.
Yeah.
You are raising was 1.5, if I remember.
So 2 million, and what is really particular is that we want to propose 20% equity for 2 million. So our current valuation is roughly 9.6 million pounds. We are doing a double fundraising campaign. The first one is for the platform itself. So this digital health platform we want to provide to as many medical institutions as possible, and we are even discussing with governments now. So there is one fundraising, including a particular fundraising strategy for the platform, and the first vertical as well. So the oral microbiome, we want to raise money just to provide our artificial intelligence applied to predictive genomics based on the oral microbiome, because we have a card to play there. But most of the time, it's a little bit different skill set, and maybe the profile of investor is different. So we prefer to say we raise money for the platform. You can also come as a microbiome expert and investor in microbiome to just invest in the oral health service if you do prefer. So it's a double fundraising here, which is kind of unusual.
So someone can decide to invest in the vertical itself.
Yes, and we do ring fence the investment, and we do provide a very interesting way to make sure that the money goes there, and it's perfectly safe. Obviously, we ask ourselves the question: should we spin out this? And it's purely a matter of numbers. So before oral microbiome, the oral health, before it's doing 1 million in revenue alone, we will not spin out. Then we will, and it will be kind of natural.
I understand. I mean, spin out or not, I don't think it's going to be your problem today. So you can always spin out, no problem. Now, what's your vision? I mean, you are an entrepreneur. You've been working in bio all your life. So what's your vision for your platform? Today, platform, tomorrow, medical device.
That's a very good question. So it's not that common to be asked the vision. So thanks for the question. The vision is kind of simple in a way, because we want this technology to become invisible and everywhere. That's the vision. So if tomorrow I bought these glasses, and I bought these glasses based on my DNA. I need to protect my eyes. I know exactly which filter I selected and why. Maybe tomorrow, thanks to CircaGene technology, it will be around, invisible, but you will know exactly what is good for you to eat, where to go, what to avoid, all this little DNA-based nudge. You want to listen to your body, you want to listen to your DNA, you can. We can help you to integrate this into your life. So my vision is really simple. I want to provide to the billion of humans out there a way to reconnect with their DNA and to leverage their knowledge of their DNA to avoid risk and to optimize their life in every single aspect, 100 times a day. The way they eat, the way they move, the way they drive, the way they sleep. I want to provide this invisible nudge to the people so they are always in a good place and they optimize their life for the greater good.
I do hope one day we can be everyone aware of our DNA, having our DNA in our drawer. You open it, you really know exactly, not the map of your life, but you have some help how to live your life without using medicine too much or this kind of stuff. Let me close with, I like to leave with a message to investors why they should invest in Francois, in CircaGene, and one day how they can get their money back.
The very good question for investor. I think they probably are waiting for that one. They should invest because it's good for them first from a financial point of view. That's like they will be, any return on investment? Yes, massive. We are accelerating our revenues. It's actually, COVID was a good thing in a sense because it's accelerated the adoption of the platform. People are suddenly realizing, well, my health is my main asset, actually. I need to protect it. And I put money in my car, I have insurance and so on, but I neglect myself. And they were looking for this kind of solution. So investor, come and invest. Why? Because the market is ready. Exit strategy. Well, I've been working in vitro diagnostic companies for most of my life, basically. I do believe they are extremely interested in the different modules, which are the application. And we were talking about the oral health service. We have many more innovations coming, which are absolutely amazing. Each of these innovation is one opportunity to have a fantastic deal with in vitro diagnostic companies or pharmas. So you can think in terms of licensing opportunities, but also basically strong partnership or more with these big companies. I do believe that not only in vitro diagnostic companies or pharmas will be very important for our future. I do believe GAFAM as well. I do believe that the Apple and others, Amazon will be interested by providing this kind of additional hyper-personalized, privacy by design, DNA-based nudge, so you can really buy what you should buy and avoid what is not good for you. So investor, you're welcome. Feel free to come. I do Ask Me Anything session quite regularly. You can really ask any question. There is no taboo. I'm here to answer anything you can have in mind. We do have exit strategy for you to understand, but basically in vitro diagnostic companies are probably one of the golden path for that.
Francois, thank you so much for coming. It's been a very great pleasure having you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Max. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.